Hello and welcome to another edition of the Labour Social after last night's marathon effort. We've got Rachel back, we've got Cozy back. How you doing? How you doing? Hello everyone. Can we hear you?
I
Give me a quick
slept,
1, 2.
so I'm
You
fine.
slept. You slept.
Yeah.
I'm totes gels. I was going to sleep this afternoon. I ended up going out for a bike ride instead. Leaf Huntress in the chat, hi, is shouting very loud, Lib Dems are second, because that's true. The Lib Dems have actually taken more councillors or elected more councillors than the Tories have at the moment in these elections.
I just say, you guys, you're all addicted to watching the results as they come in.
Yes.
I'm not. So that I looked at some point this afternoon and the Tories had lost something like 220 and I laughed.
Well, it's 400.
Yeah.
It's
and then
433
I looked again a couple
now.
of hours later. It was like 320. So
yeah.
Yeah, we got full sci-fi last night, and the people in the chat were going, "Why don't you talk about politics?" It's coming in.
No, we've got better things to talk about.
How many are we at now?
We are at, I'll tell you exactly. So Labour are on 1,019 councillors. The Lib Dems are on 487. The Conservatives are on 463, well behind. There's 218 independents. The Greens have got 159, and the Residents Association has got something like that. It has got 48 seats. So, they are all on. So Labour have now got on an extra 169 seats. Lib Dems on an extra 94. Independents on an extra 87. Greens on an extra 66. And Residents Association on an extra 11. The only party to have net lost councillors is the Tories. They have lost 433 councillors, and that's just absolutely staggering.
Yeah,
that is staggering.
Well, Tanny did threaten to just record 3 minutes of herself laughing, and I think we could probably do that all together.
Absolutely.
400 and how many did you say?
433 so far. And there's still
33.
Yeah, that's how many councillors they've lost. And
but counting's still not finished, is it?
There's another 7 councils to go.
Yeah.
But there's been some really fun results, especially in the mayoral contest. The East Midlands was won by Claire Ward for Labour, much to the chagrin of the Tory, who was a Tory MP who was standing, Ben Bradley, the guy who said that we should euthanise people who are out of work. He's a Tory MP. He's a council leader, and he didn't get his third job. Oh, sorry, he said benefit claimants should be sterilised. This is privately educated, of course. I added him to the private school mafia earlier today. He was the 1,062nd person to be added.
Has this guy heard about the T4 programme?
What's the T4 programme?
That was the programme that saw people with disabilities euthanized and sterilised in the Nazi period.
He probably liked it. He probably heard about it, got very excited.
And thought, this is a really good idea.
Yeah.
We're going to do just what the people did that we fought against in the Second World War.
It's probably on somebody's roadmap.
There's a lot of people who think that the wrong side lost.
Yeah.
And in World War II. It's also what Idi Amin did with disabled people in Uganda. He took them over to Lake Victoria and drowned them.
Yeah.
Hundreds of disabled people in the 1970s. And, luckily, he was brought to justice for his crimes against humanity, and he was put to death. Oh, no, he didn't. He went to live out his life in a palace in Saudi Arabia. I love the Saudi Arabians. They're so nice. Aren't they nice people? They're really nice. We like them. Please don't dismember me. Anyway, so yes, let's say hello to everyone in the chat, because we've got loads of people on tonight. We've got Captain Bart Roberts in there, we've got Richard and Ivan, and we've got Rachel Adkins, we've got Duke Vengeance, as always. Hi, Duke. We've got Billy Kershaw in there, we've got Craig, Lucy Willis, we've got One Angry Pagan. Hello, One Angry Pagan. We've got Super Tiny 8808. We've also got Alex, and we've got Tracy Puddinators in there. I can see Colin Baker is in there. We've got Pikachu. We've got Pikachu. We got Johnny Copperhead. Hello, Johnny Copperhead, who just says, even in all, Tories, minus 433. Hey! And Rishi Sanders is so confident in his speech today, says Sarah Davis. He's so confident he won't call an election. Yeah, I don't think he's going to call an election. People are saying, it's going to be summer now. It's going to be summer. I don't think it's going to be the summer. The one thing that might have driven him to this being the summer, the Tories unfortunately have won they've won the Tees Valley mayoral contest, and looks like they're going to win also the other one, Andy Street's one, West.
Oh yeah.
Place.
But Andy Street is kind of he's sort of a mild One Nation-y.
Yeah. Whereas Ben Houchins is a complete crook.
Yeah.
But both of them have distanced themselves from the Tory party.
What about,
got nothing to do with us.
What about
not my monkeys, not my circus.
As the independent guy, the guy standing as independent that was kicked out of Labour.
Jamie Driscoll.
Yeah.
So he came second here in the Northeast for the Northeast mayoral election. He wasn't kicked out, by the way. He was just not selected as the candidate for mayor. He wanted to be selected. They selected Kim McGuinness instead.
Right.
And, he didn't have a God-given right to run, and he had been quite critical of the leadership. And, it's not great, because I think a lot of people here would have liked to have their own say in that. But I can also see the point of,
So I haven't followed it. Who won that?
Kim McGuinness. Kim won 187,000, I think she got.
For Labour.
Yeah, for Labour. And then Jamie Driscoll got about 130,000, and then everyone else is just miles behind.
I obviously tuned out at 4:00 in the morning, so
Oh no, that didn't come in. That didn't come in till 4:15. This afternoon.
I lay on the settee all afternoon because I didn't go to bed after 4:00. So I watched Phil. I watched Morning Brew with you. I then watched Phil and you. And then I watched a lot of other. I watched Phil on his own. But I was unconscious on the settee, and I was just zoning in all afternoon. My wife was bringing me tea and, bits and bobs all afternoon, and I just didn't want to go to bed. Because I thought I can't go to bed now.
Well, if you went to bed at that time, you'd wake up like in the middle of the night, and then we'll be able to get back to you. So you're best just staying up. It's like jet lag. You're best just staying up. We've got a wonderful super chat from James. Thank you very much, James Harrison, for the super chat. Joined the Labour Party last year because of you and Phil. I've been canvassing non-stop in my area, which paid off because we won by 22 votes. Brilliant. Well done, James. That is fantastic. See, you can make a difference, especially in the local elections, because turnout can be quite low.
Yeah.
As Phil says, you only need like a football team to vote one way, and it can sway the election, as happened there. Puninator says, thank you very much for the super chat, Puninator. I just looked up my PCC. It's still a Tory. Crying face. I'm very sorry. If there was
mine
election...
isn't declared yet.
No.
I'm like tapping my fingers. I'm like, come on.
I'm sure
how long does it take to count the votes?
I'm sure it won't be the Tory. Do you vote for the Liverpool one for the PCC?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not the Wirral one.
Yeah, Liverpool City region. I mean, I'm pretty safe that it's going to remain the same person who is Labour, and the mayor is going to stay the same person who's Labour.
Do you have a Liverpool postcode or a Cheshire postcode?
I have a Cheshire postcode.
Oh, posh.
But when I first moved here, I still had a Liverpool postcode.
Scousers. Yeah, no,
I had an L postcode when I first moved here. I moved from L8 to an L postcode that then changed to a CH postcode. The number stayed the same. It's only the first letter that changed. First letter or first two letters. So it changed from an L to a CH.
L8.
And you know what?
Riverside constituency. That's where you were. I know.
That's where I was when I was living in Toxteth. Yeah, good old Tocky.
Bloody love Tocky. Love a bit of Tocky. Yeah.
Princess Ward. Lovely place.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say another super chat.
Liverpool just bang on about Liverpool all the time. Is that
it's the best place on earth.
It is.
It's like being born in Disneyland. Of course, you're going to go on about it.
The Carlsberg ads, probably the best beer in the world. Well, I've got a T-shirt that says Liverpool, probably the best university in the world.
Yeah. Probably the best city in the world. And I should know. I've been to a few.
I mean, there are other good candidates. Don't get me wrong. There are other candidates exist, but Liverpool is definitely up there.
Yeah,
it's good.
I had a message off one of my friends who's Australian, and they had a niece that come over to Manchester, or come over to the UK, and they were in Manchester for a few days.
Oh, boring.
And this is what she said. She said, "Very gross, big party town, lots of homeless people and gross men." There you go.
Well,
that is an
yeah, they're not
Australian
pretty.
summing up Manchester.
Yeah,
Someone who went to
I had
Manchester
to
Uni.
import a Scotsman, so
I don't think
you
she's too
know.
wrong. We're probably going to upset some people in the chat. Hayes in the
Well,
chat
that's
is
because
saying,
you were taken, Graham.
I hate. Sorry, I have a CH postcode 2 in Birkenhead, and we've got
Who
Wayne.
now?
Wayne's mum lives in Birkenhead. Wayne's frozen. He looks terrified. That's
Hiya,
quite
Wayne.
funny. Look at him on the screen. He's like a rabbit in headlights. Wayne, what happened? He's been frozen in space and time.
Yeah, he's still frozen.
Very amusing.
While we're waiting for Wayne to blink. Oh, he's blinked. He blinked. He blinked. It's good. It's good. It's all good. We've got another super chat from One Angry Pagan. Thank you very much. I say it again. We need a 21st century Anira Bevan. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Bevan, founder of the NHS.
Hiya, Angry Pagan. I like that. I've seen quite a lot of their comments. I like them.
Good. Yeah.
We could
I
do with
never
some
look
more
at the
pagans.
comments.
Well,
I literally looked for the first time last week, I think.
Should we talk about something that happened this week? And it's a bit grim, but I think it's worth pointing out. So I will in a second when I come to the super chat. Thank you very much to Grand Admiral Zen. Which is such a great name. Does anyone know why The Guardian and the BBC report different numbers for how many seats have been won? Thanks for all you do, Hart. I don't know. It just might be a lag in reporting, but by the end of it all,
or Laura Kinsberg just going, I can't add the one on for the Tories. Don't make me do
it. Everyone's saying it's the Tory boy. Hi, Wayne.
Oh, get over yourselves.
GHK, thank you very much for the super chat. Liverpool is great, but never seen the sun there. Yes, that's right, because we have in Liverpool a total eclipse of the sun. No, we have a eclipse.
You think it's any better in Edinburgh?
Yeah.
No, we're talking about the Sun newspaper. Total eclipse. The sun.
The scum.
No,
you don't see the scum here.
No.
Go to Glasgow. I go to Glasgow up and down on business. It's like Blade Runner, and it's like being in Blade Runner when I go to Glasgow. It's always raining, and it's like
it's on neon. Join the off-world colonies.
There's nothing but
amazing
Vangelis
soundtrack. Yeah. GHK. Sorry, I've already said that one. Bopty Bop says my boy is called a Norman. As in a Norman. A Norman Bevan. Anavin.
Isn't it Anarin?
Nevin. A Nevin Bevan. No, is that right? Yeah.
Nye. Let's just call him Nye because that's the nickname. Nye Bevan.
That sounds a lot better than
Anarin.
Anarin.
Yeah.
Brian, what time did you actually check out today?
It was about 10 to 6 in the morning.
Bloody hell.
The last
When did you go, Wayne? Did you not stay for the duration?
Wayne was up till past 3.
Oh yeah, just 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
and then I was in a chat
4.
for a little while. And then I just flaked, and then I had to be up to go to work. I was up like about 6:30.
Yeah.
And then potting around the house, didn't have to go to work till like 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I literally just walked back in the door.
Oh wow. Bloody hell.
I did another hour after you, Wayne, and then I went to bed at 4.
Oh, well played.
I think everyone's going to have a nice, a good sleep tonight.
Oh yeah.
We will sleep well in the fire.
I made sure I stocked up on the,
oh no, Wayne, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. Wayne, you're breaking up.
Well.
Give your internet a shake. Well, take the batteries out your internet. Roll, give them a shake and put them back in. Give them a roll.
So what are we thinking about
I'm gonna
London,
turn it off
then?
and turn it on again.
London Mayoral.
Super Tiny 808 says August 1998 we had a full solar eclipse. No, it wasn't. It was August 1999. I remember it well. Anyway, sorry. Before we come to the local election, I was just going to mention about the fact there was a really, really horrific incident that happened this week with a crazy guy with a sword who was swinging it around, white guy with a sword, saying, "Do you believe in God?" as he murdered a child. And I'll put to you that if that fella had been a Muslim,
Yeah.
or come from
We
a
would
black
be
country,
talking about a terrorist incident.
it would have been down as a terrorist incident.
Absolutely.
How?
Absolutely.
And it's not like you can pretend that there's a good excuse of why it wasn't called a terrorist incident. It's just out and out, endemic, systematic, institutional racism. That's it.
Structural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Islamophobia.
a guy that rang up LBC the other day, and he made a very good point. And he said, like, this is always reported as sort of, you know, black on black crime. Why is it never reported as white on white crime? So
Yes.
if you kind of sow the seed of this is a thing, then what you do in the sort of general public's psyche, it now becomes a thing because the media are pumping this out and doing this kind of manufacturing of consent, and then it becomes a thing. So whenever, like, I remember every time that there was some knife crime in London, they would always report it. And then as soon as you heard the surname of the kid that got stabbed, it was always like an African origin surname. But when it was a white kid, it was just a murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every other time it was reported, because I remember, like, there was a massive spate of knife crime in London, and no one gave a shit until it was Ben Kinsella, who was the brother of an actress who was in EastEnders for about 10 minutes.
Yeah. But I mean,
but because he was a white boy, but it is a double standard to the reporting, as you say,
no, absolutely, it is, absolutely, and it's you know, there's another thing as well, which is separate to this incident, but if you hear that there's been a murder, your first instinct is to go, "Oh my God, how horrible!"
Yeah.
But then if you hear that it was drugs related, suddenly a part of you goes, "Oh well, maybe they deserved it." And that is the sad indictment of the war, the failure of the war on drugs, because it makes people not care that people are dying.
But when you hear a murder, it depends on your perspective, isn't it? When I hear somebody attacking a woman or I hear somebody murdering someone, I just pray that the person doing it isn't trans, because the whole trans community worldwide will be tarred for that one incident. You know, Karen White, prison in Scotland, entire trans community, all risky, all dodgy by one person. And that's the way. It's a standard of the act.
But this is the thing. If you're part of any kind of minority, you are then described by the media as a monolith. You can never be an individual.
When you're breaking up again, mate.
You are part of that group.
Yeah.
So
we get what you're saying. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you become a representative of your entire community.
Yeah.
So if you fuck up, if you do something wrong, suddenly that represents everyone. So if I can see this happen to me, even though I am middle class, white, fairly heteronormative.
Yeah, but you do something wrong, it represents all ginger people.
No, Liverpudlians, Scousers, they'll make a big thing about me coming from Liverpool if I did something wrong.
Yeah, they'll find a characteristic.
Yeah, Northern. Yeah. I mean, look at Angela Rayner. Why have they gone after her so badly? Because she's ginger, gobby, and Northern.
Yeah, and trans inclusive.
I love you, Angela. Yeah, trans inclusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vendetta's saying Wayne sounds pissed. He's not pissed. It's just he's got really crappy internet.
Yeah, I've poor internet.
Yeah, put some money into the internet fund. Can we get you better internet, Wayne? Seriously, can we order you up some internet? Can we rustle you some internet up? We could do like an internet fund on here. What do you reckon?
Well, I'm changing because the reason my internet is so bad is because I've got rid of Richard Branson's internet.
Yeah.
And now I'm on my O2 phone. And I'm changing to another network to have Wi-Fi indoors because I have to use my phone for everything. I watch TV through my phone. I sometimes catch the occasional football match, but that's through legal means.
Yes, completely legal. Yes.
But
no, I mean, like, can you get a phone that's got 5G and then you'll have like nice.
This phone has got 5G, but I'm not in a 5G area.
Yoni's saying get your neighbour to get better Wi-Fi.
Yeah, pretty much.
Michael Warner in the chat saying, Graham, look up Jack's song about gingers. I think you'll enjoy it. It's only 30 seconds. There's a great song called Ginger by David Devant and his spirit wife, which is the national anthem of gingers, or the international anthem of gingers. In another life, maybe we're going to be ginger and free.
But the good thing is, you don't have to spend much. You don't have to spend much on a holiday when you're ginger because you burn within 8 minutes.
Yes,
you're there.
Yeah. Do you know what, that's one of those things that I don't like getting tanned. I don't see the point of it. I don't think it makes me look more attractive when I'm
same.
I'm covered in freckles. All that happens is I get really freckly, and I'm 57. I don't want any more freckles.
Yeah. Rachel,
I only ever get burnt when I go abroad.
Yeah. Well, you won't get burnt in the UK. We're too high latitudes, aren't we? We don't really have the sun.
You do if you're ginger. You burn everywhere.
Yeah, I suppose.
But it freaked me out because the very first holiday I went on was I told you I was on that TV show, the Villa, back in the day. That was the very first time I went abroad, and that was the very first time I got sunburn, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Like my nose went completely black and peeled off. All my forehead went black and peeled off. I was freaking out. First time I got sunburn was when I was 20.
Is awful. It's really, really horrific.
Yeah.
What did you just say? Did you say black skin is horrific? Are you
being
racist again, Cozy?
On black skin.
What is wrong with you? Oh, sunburn.
Sunburn on
Thank
black
God
skin.
For that.
On black
I thought I was going to have to press the dump button.
It takes more for them to burn, but when they do, like when you've had sunburn and you peeled and it took a couple of days of looking like a lizard, that's nothing in comparison, honestly.
Right.
It's,
Graham, did you not see those pictures of me from Gran Canaria where my shoulders went? No. I've still got the tiger stripes on my shoulders.
Oh God, brilliant!
Because the thing is, because all of the other adults were sort of like just sitting on the sun now and just reading books and all that. I was in and out of the pool constantly, putting cream on. As soon as I get in the pool, cream comes off. I get out, and I just got completely burnt across here, like 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It was, it was horrific.
I fell asleep on a boat going down the Mekong River in Cambodia, and I had been drinking the night before, so I was kind of hungover.
Weird.
I fell asleep, my arm over my face to try and block out the sun from my eyes, right? And when I woke up, I literally had this like white stripe across my face, and this bit were like absolutely toasty red, burnt with this like white stripe down the middle of my face. I looked absolutely ridiculous. Viv in the chat is saying only a ginger can call another ginger from the Tim Minchin song. Excellent. And Rachel Adkins is saying freckles are beautiful. I agree. And Leaf Huntress is saying, Graham, as a Dutchie, have you been to the festival yet? And I think Leaf Huntress there is referring to the Ginger Festival that they have every year. When I was working for Lonely Planet Productions, Lonely Planet TV, I was planning to do a show after I finished my journey to every country in the world called A Year of Festivals, based on Lonely Planet's book, A Year of Festivals. And that was definitely one of the festivals that I was going to go to, along with the Japanese Naked Man Festival, the Spanish Baby Jumping Festival, the Mexican festival where you got to crawl on your belly all the way through the town till you get to the top of the hill. There's a church at the top of the hill. This is the thing they do in Mexico.
This sounds like fetish stuff to me.
Oh, all these festivals are absolutely brilliant, absolutely bonkers. The baby jumping one's the best. So they put babies down on like rugs on the ground, and then they get people to dress up as devils and jump over them.
Yeah, that's just weird.
It's a festival. I just want to go and see it. It sounds great. Genius. Anyway, people are talking about getting... Michael Warner saying, stop spoiling your book, Graham. It's on my list to listen to.
It's a good book. I'm about halfway through.
Wait, which bit are you up to? Without giving too many spoilers away.
I saw the one where the captain threw you off, and then that was when I asked you the question. I've gone past that because you've just got to the... You went to Cuba, and you sneaked in and sneaked out. And so you've just done Cuba, and now you're on a yacht going on. Oh, you're in Canada now.
Canada, freezing my arse off.
Yeah,
I went from like absolutely roasting hot tropics Caribbean to Canada, freezing cold ice in like 2 days.
Great. I have a confession. I used one of my free tokens to download your book.
Oh, brilliant. That's fine. I haven't made any money from my book at all.
You've only written the first book because you only done the first
Yes.
100 in the first book.
Yeah. The first book covers the first year of my travels. The
Yeah.
second book will cover the second year, and the last book.
Are you
covers the third.
becoming Tolkien of travel?
Well, no. I thought that when I got the first book, I'd get an advance for the second book, but I didn't.
Oh.
And without an advance, it's very difficult to down tools when you're relying on like at least a bit of money coming in each month just to keep your head above water. To just write it. To be honest, all things being equal, if someone just said, "Here's 10 grand to write your next book," I'll just go, "Okay," and I'll stop. Sorry, I'll stop doing Labour Social for a bit, but I'm going to wait till after the election.
That was more than Liz Truss got for her advance, wasn't it?
Well, Liz Truss didn't really deserve it. I mean, she sold so few copies of that book. She's 700th on the Amazon download list. 700th.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
why would anyone want to buy it?
I know. The lizard.
I mean, unless you've got a wonky table or something like that, you just need to chuck something underneath it to prop it up. Why?
Well,
inspiration.
let's have a look. If you have a look on Amazon, 10 years to save the West. Lessons from the only conservative in the room. That's what it's got on the front cover. Oh my god!
Is there an audiobook version of it? And did she read it? Because that would be horrific.
Oh, that would be hilarious. You're going to bed at night and you put your audiobook on. Hi, it's the Mythinator.
I'm Liz Truss.
Aspiration. Oh, trans people did it.
There's people also bought The Plot by Nadine Dorries. They also bought. Oh, I mean, there's.
I'm embarrassed. I bought Cameron's book and listened to it as an audio book. About when he first wrote it. There was a guy who was very happy with the way his life went.
Yeah, I bet he was.
Yeah.
Killing Thatcher, Life on a Thread. The it's saying customers who viewed this item also viewed, and it's given like Gordon Brown's autobiography. It's got four chancellors and a funeral on there as well by Russ Jones. How They Broke Britain. Over here. I've got the books on the other things people wrote.
That's by my bed, James O'Brien, and I've got Rory Stewart's book, which I have.
Politics on the Edge is on there as well, Rory Stewart. So I thought it was going to have funnier books connected to it, but
Graham, do you want me to sign that for you?
What, you want me to sign my book?
No, do you want me to sign James's book for you? Because that's my thing.
What? Yes, you signed. Are you casting aspersions on James O'Brien? Whether he actually signs books or not?
It's my gimmick. Whenever I go to a book launch of his, people always ask, "Are you Wayne Basildon?" Yeah. Can you sign my book? And then they go around the queue and for him to sign it, and he opens up the book and sees that I've already signed it.
Do you sign it as yourself, or do you sign it as James O'Brien?
No, I sign it as Wayne Basildon. Enjoy the book from Wayne Basildon.
Brilliant.
Sign it. Where's Sangeeta James before he gets it, and then he might.
I'll definitely get daggers if I did that.
GHK, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, I can't put down Liz Truss's book because I didn't get it. Which is fair enough. And then there's a lot of Terry Pratchett love in the chat. There was last night and there was this afternoon. We're big fans of Terry Pratchett on this channel, so that's always good. Another devastating loss, taken far too early, unfortunately. Yeah. But at least we've still got Neil Gaiman, who is lovely.
This is a bit of a tangent, but do you think that Terry Pratchett is the inspiration for the flat Earth divs?
Well, no, because he took the whole Discworld thing about it being on 4 elephants and. I thought
it was a massive turtle.
It's on 4 elephants that in turn are standing on a turtle that swims through the multiverse. So
yeah, but that's
I don't think it's not about Greater Tywin.
That doesn't that come from Hindu mysticism, isn't that?
I think it does. Yeah.
There is a religion
there's a thing.
Yeah, he didn't pluck that out of the air. But yeah, Discworld is flat, but it's kind of taking the mick because
but that's the whole point because all the world is a disc.
Yes, but our world isn't. It's a bit weird the way they made
Well,
all
that's
the other
it. We're
planets
round
round
world.
except for
That's
us.
Disc world. We're round world. You know.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
see?
I like
Sorry.
the excuse in Tolkien's books because in his Legendarium, the Earth was flat, and then everyone tried to go to America on the boats, and weren't supposed to go to America because that's where the angels lived or the elves, whatever. And so they bent the Earth, i.e., they made it round, so that the humans couldn't go to Valinor.
Is there any update on Rings of Power season 2?
I hope not. Mate, it was.
Yeah. I had to keep stopping to ask my wife what was going on. Oh, it's just the first war. The humans fought on the wrong side. The elves are keeping an eye on the humans, and oh my god, it was a nightmare.
Why did it have to be like a mystery box thing where it's like, oh, you don't know who this is, you don't know who that is, you're not going to find out who they are.
Yeah. I think this is the problem with all prequels. They retcon stuff to suit a narrative that doesn't really exist. Like the Phantom Menace. What's a pile of shit?
No, but that was just made up by George Lucas after the event. These are taken from J.R.R. Tolkien's works, where he, the Silmarillion describes the first few thousand years of Middle Earth history. So this is set in the Middle Age, the Second Age, and a lot of this is in the appendices of Lord of the Rings. But they it's just the execution of it was just. I'm sorry, I'm a huge Tolkien fan, so it just. Like Celebrimbor, the guy who made the rings, the elf who made the rings, in the books he spent centuries trying to make them because they were so complex to make, because it was like magic and metal. And
you get on well with Stephen Colbert. He's a mad.
He is a huge fan. He's
a huge fan. He's so geeky about it.
He is.
Did you see that C.J. Sanson died this week?
No.
Do you know who he is? He's written a lot of fantasy books, but he wrote one of my favorite books, a book called Dominion, which was about, it was kind of like what happens if the Germans had won the Second World War, and it was kind of London under German occupation.
Yeah, I've downloaded. I've started that.
It was a bit like SSGB, the other book, but it's really good. I mean, it was really good. I think he was sort of investigating a murder during occupation, and it was just very Anyway, he died very young.
I downloaded that at the same time as I downloaded A Very British Coup, and I got right into A Very British Coup and put Dominion on the back burner.
Dominion's a good read. It's a good,
Is it better than the Minion movie? Because I hated that.
How dare you?
Rachel says Tolkien is a legend. Absolutely. You're only saying Silmarillion is a bit of a slog to read. To be honest with you, I tried to read it so many times as a kid, and I never got all the way through it until the first Lord of the Rings film came out, and a few things that I couldn't get my head around by reading them, by seeing them referred to in the Lord of the Rings film, in the Fellowship of the Ring. It made something click, and I managed to read it all the way through.
I've not read it myself, but I've heard that it's kind of like a patchwork sort of blueprint for the Lord of the Rings, but it's so disjointed and so sort of like
it's just taken from his notes. These were notes that he did the backstory of Middle Earth, of how it came to be, who the gods were, the angels, the mayor, the Aenor, all this kind of stuff, and like how Sauron came about and all that kind of thing, because he was a servant of Melkor, the original, or Morgoth, who was the original. That was the what's the comedian you were talking about, Rachel, who's big into Lord of the Rings?
Stephen Colbert.
Stephen Colbert, yeah. He was on a talk show, and they questioned him on his Tolkien knowledge, and they asked who Shelob's mother was, and I was shouting at the screen, Ungoliant! Ungoliant! And it was right. Yeah, he got it as well.
You're a geek or anything.
I'm a massive... I don't care. You lot keep talking about Tolkien.
I don't remember all this
nerdgasms everywhere.
No, I honestly, it was one of the first. The Hobbit I read as a small kid. I think it was probably about 8 or 9. I really remember it quite clearly because I got it out from the library in Old Swan, and it was the hardback edition. And I didn't know that you could extend the month you had to read a book. You got the stamp in the book in the library. I didn't know. I thought you had to read it in the month. And the
What
night
is
before,
this stamp you talk about, old timer?
I know, old school. But no, and so like I remember staying up. I was only like 8 years old. I stayed up all night reading this book, and I fell asleep reading it because I wanted to get it finished. And I sort of woke up in the morning, and I was in tears, going, "Mum, I haven't finished the book." And she's like, "It's all right, you can just renew it." And I'm like, "Oh."
That's when you know a book really gets you, because I mean, I've the books that I've got now are more sort of like New Scientist books and all that, basically Mystery Hour fodder. But I remember I couldn't wait. I was a big fan of the Timothy Zahn Dark Empire novels, like the post Return of the Jedi stuff, and I couldn't wait to get home from school to
Dark Force Rising, was it?
Yeah, no, Heir to the Empire was the first one.
Yeah.
Then it was Dark Force Rising, and then I can't remember the name of the last one. But yeah, there was a guy in it called Starkiller.
Yes,
and he was like
they were better than the actual sequel trilogy that they ended up making.
Yeah, if they would have made them as a film, that would have been brilliant.
Yeah,
the fact that he made a lightsaber that could go 3 different sizes. He could have it like a dagger, and then a normal sort of katana, and then a massive sort of like lance, sort of where he had the 3 crystals in there to determine the size of his blade. All that cool stuff. Like, this is brilliant. This is someone who properly knows the lore of Star Wars, and just brilliant book.
Rachel saying Smaug must have been a Tory. I think that the dwarves were probably Tories because they like to hoard their wealth. I think the elves, definitely the Greens. I think the men who, fallible men would be Labour. I don't know who the hobbits would be. But yeah, everyone's talking about. We're supposed to be talking about the bloody elections today, but never mind. Let's just about Tolkien a bit more.
We went all nerdy again.
It's always the three.
Fire Terry Pratchett. Someone points out that they love Terry Pratchett, and this world is way better than anything that J.K. Rowling's ever done, which I have to agree with. And Glenn in the chat saying, I love Rings of Power, and I think Morphic Clark is a great Galadriel. Honestly, I thought she was fantastic. I thought she was a really great actress. I just thought that she was let down by the material. There were some great bits in it. I really liked the relationship between Elrond and the dwarf who, I've forgotten his name now. Thrain, was it? Oh, shit. But yeah, I really like those bits, but there were just other bits in it that I just thought.
I love the way that her mouth doesn't actually move when she speaks.
Well, your mouth's not moving when you speak at the moment, Wayne.
Did you notice when she speaks, her mouth just goes like this? It doesn't really do anything. It just.
Kirsty Walk does that as well. Kirsty Walk when she's reading the news. Yeah.
Welcome to news.
Does. Vote Tory.
Right, kids.
Vote Tory. Get bandwidth squeezing.
Are we losing Cozy? This is what happens when we talk about
I'm going to have
Tolkien.
to go. I just had a phone call from my kid. I've got to go pick him up from his mate's house.
All
so
right.
I'll be about taxi mummy. I'll be about 40 minutes. Don't know if you'll still be at it.
Oh, if we're still on, then feel free to jump back on.
Yeah,
no problem.
All right. I saw John Mortar coming on and went.
He did,
and then he disappeared.
Did he come on and get lost again? Oh well. See you later, kids.
He probably inherited some of my Essex internet.
You're consuming it all.
Let's have a go. You coming on, John?
Well, the book that got me into reading, because I was a terrible, because I'm dyslexic, I was a remedial reader all the way through school, so I never really read any books. But once I sort of worked out that I was dyslexic and sorted it out a bit, the first book I read was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, wow.
And then I never looked back. I went right through all the books and loved them, and I couldn't put them down.
Fucking love The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
But it's a great book. It's funny. It's got a bit of sci-fi. It was just...
Do you know what I really loved about it? Because I watched the TV series first in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And then I read the book. Then I listened to the radio show, which is the original.
Yeah.
And then obviously the movie came out a few years afterwards.
I wasn't keen on the movie.
Yeah, but I like the way it was like different ways of telling the same story. Do you know what I mean? And just some of the ideas in it were just fantastic. And I love the way he made someone like me, who's not a scientist, like really appreciate the mind-boggling possibilities of the universe, like how
Yeah.
daft it all is. He had this great line about the fact that we're living in a gravity well on this ball that's spinning at 24,000 miles an hour around a nuclear furnace that's been burning for 4 billion years, and we just think that's normal.
The universe is big.
No, these are the books that I love. This is one of the New Scientist books.
What's that?
Why can't elephants jump?
Why can't elephants jump? Knees.
Mm-hmm.
It's too fucking heavy.
No, but I've got a few of these, and they were sent to me. This is where we're going to do a nice little tenuous link. By Professor Howe.
Oh, from
he sent me
Mystery Hour fame.
Mystery Hour fame, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's had a few radiotas, hasn't he?
So, but
oh, hang on, Wayne's we're losing
no, I think
Wayne.
he's only had the one.
Wayne, come back on.
Don't land with your landing gear. Put your landing gear down.
Yeah. But Lucy Willis is saying, I never read proper books as a kid, only comics. But I was reading The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and everyone else in the comic shop thought I was an idiot for not getting the references. Yeah, because obviously it's all literary references in there. I want to tell you a nice story. I was once at an event with Dave Gibbons, who was the guy who did the artwork for Watchmen. And as I came in, I sat next to a woman who, when I was a teenager, we used to go to the Crazy House together, called Leah. And I was like, oh, hey, Leah, bloody hell, I hadn't seen her for like maybe 20 years or something. She's like, oh, hi, Graham. And we sit down, and Dave is talking. And we're at the Blue Coat Chambers, I think, in Liverpool. And he's talking about, writing on Watchmen. And then he references Alan Moore, who wrote Watchmen. And he said, oh, and his daughter Leah is in the audience tonight. And I'm like, your dad is Alan Moore. And she's like, yeah, I thought you knew. And I'm like, why didn't you say? She said, well, it just never came up in conversation. It's just like the maddest thing. So yeah, I've got a tenuous link.
Yeah, and then she just
Alan Moore
sat back like that. That's me, old man. What of it?
Yeah. What of it? Best comic book writer ever, I think. Alan Moore. He's got new books coming out actually about some alternative London, 1949. So that might be quite an interesting new book cycle coming out from Alan Moore. Anyway, Johnny Copperhead, thank you very, very much for the super chat. Jacob Reese Smorg. I like that. Very funny. Bop de Bop. Was that Bop de Bop who came out with that one? It's very good. And GHK, thank you very much for the super chat. 100 out of 107 councils. Labour are on 1,019. Lib Dem on 487. And the Conservatives on 463. There you go. Fun facts. And there's about Mike Organ says, my first book was Tintin Goes to the Moon. I learned to read that then onto Marvel Comics. And the second book was Stranger in a Strange Land, after which I was hooked on sci-fi.
Yeah.
Sci-fi's boss. Sci-fi's a way of telling stories in a way that
imagination, and the imagination comes with ideas, and ideas comes with technology, and technology is going to save the world, hopefully.
Well, this is my take on any film that you go and see, and I said this earlier today. Yep. If the plot of the film could be the plot of a soap opera, don't make a film of it. That's it. Make a drama, make a BBC drama. That's fine. I don't care. That's fine. But do not think that people are going to pay to see that, because they won't. And because a movie takes 1,000 people and costs millions of pounds to make, please don't waste that money on a film that's not going to make its money back at the box office.
Unless
it's show business.
Yeah.
You at least got to make your money back.
Unless it's true, like Battlestar Galactica, they flew it all into the sun and all that. 150.
That's true. Yeah, that
150,000 years ago, which is why there's no trace of them, and that's where we came from.
God, that they did not stick the landing for the finale of that. See, also Lost.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It is. I just finished, weirdly, I'm not going to spoil the ending of Far Cry. I don't know if anybody's a gamer, but I just finished Far Cry 5 today. Yeah. I'm really angry. It's like I played that for months, and it just ends in a way you go, what?
What? That was rubbish.
Yeah. I did Far Cry 6 first. I'm doing Far Cry. I've done 5.
I had the same. I had the same thing with the latest iteration of American Horror Stories.
Yeah.
The ending was it was just truncated and just convenient.
Yeah.
I've invested some time in this, and I was just like, no.
It's you know, they just don't know how to end stuff. You know, like Friends went for 270 episodes, and the last episode was a bit like, where, and it's like, you know, it's just
it's like every Stephen King film. Every Stephen King film.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like he's concentrated on the first bit and then just gone, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, he can't stick the landing. So many of his movies, his books, are just like he does not know how to end them. He starts off with a fabulous idea. I totally agree. And it's funny because the movies that actually did well, or you know, were really good adaptations, didn't necessarily use the ending that he put in his book. So yeah,
it's like it being a giant space spider. Fuck off.
It was a clown.
Can I just kill it by his belly?
This is battery acid, you crazy.
Asmus, yeah.
And in the new version, they're like, oh, we've got to laugh at him and he'll go away. And that's how we get defeated. It was just... At least he didn't have the sex scene in. Oh my God, that book. Anyway, just a few people in the chat I just want to shout out to because, quite right, Lucy Willis saying Leah Moore also wrote Albion, which is a comic about old 60s British comic book characters. That's absolutely right. Leah is a writer in her own, and an artist in her own right. So if you do check out some of Leah Moore's work, I really do recommend it. BUFU Mike is saying Camel Club was always a good warm-up before the Crazy House. Camel Club was right next to the Crazy House. It was up the stairs. And it was great. And then they sort of changed the music and make it a bit too loud and no one could hear each other, so we stopped going there. We usually just go to the 147 before going to the Crazy House, have a few games of pool. Them were the days. Or the Jack. Obviously the Jack Amanda in Liverpool. The greatest pub in the world. Strangely enough, when I went travelling around the world, I might have mentioned it, my favourite pub closed down while I was away. And as soon as I got back, it reopened. It was really weird. I think I've got like the symbiotic thing going on with the Jack Amanda in Liverpool. Anyway, Puninator, £5 super chat. Counter argument, Graham. See Finding Nemo. Kid runs off is a soap opera storyline. But that film is my childhood, and I will die on the hill defending it. Finding Nemo is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's great.
But you're never going to get a scene in a soap opera with talking fish who go on an adventure. All right, that's my point. Yeah. You've got to make it a bit different from everyday life, because otherwise no one's going to see it.
I think you're being a bit brutal, Graham. It's a metaphor.
Oh. Well, I love fine. I love the
Of course it is.
I love the surfer dude, the turtles. Whoa, little dude. Whoa. Great. I love those guys.
California.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted.
Having you some man. Wait.
We've also got King's son talking about Stephen King. Joe Hill is an exceptionally good novelist and writer. That's from Darien. I've not read any of his son's stuff. But Mike is saying, I mean, Mike, could you sound more pretentious when you say King is a poor man's Poe? Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I'll let you have that. Should we talk about the elections?
Yeah. London
election. Well, they haven't announced the London elections.
I know, but is there any hint, any clue?
Well, you see, this is the weird thing. The Tories have been putting it about. Did anyone come over? By the way, did anyone come over here from Max's stream? Because Max says he sent everyone over from his stream. So we need to see if that worked. So if you came over from Max's stream, let us know in the chat. The Tories seem to be putting out there that it might be closer than people expect, or there might be a surprise. But the polling on pretty much every single election was 100% like, you know, demonically accurate, and I'd be very, very, very surprised if Susan Hall won. I mean, God, come on.
What makes me laugh about the polling about the London Mayor and people's opinions about the London Mayor is everyone who can't stand Sadiq Khan don't live in London.
Yeah,
they travel into London.
Yeah,
and everyone who lives in London is like, do you know what? I don't really mind this geezer.
He's all right.
Yeah. But that's the thing as well, isn't it? With the ULEZ.
ULEZ.
First of all, the majority of Londoners now think that it was Sadiq Khan who introduced ULEZ. It wasn't. It was Boris Johnson. And also they don't know that the fact that the Tories wouldn't give the money that they needed, TfL needed to keep the tube running during COVID. They wouldn't give that to the mayor unless he expanded the ULEZ scheme to help pay for it. And wasn't
it Grant Shapps?
Yes, I think it was.
Wasn't he the?
I have a feeling it was. Maybe.
He said.
I don't want to say definitely.
He said
sued for being wrong.
Basically, no, because from what I remember was the condition of them getting the money for the COVID business was conditional on them having to expand the ULEZ to then repay back, because it was either it wasn't a grant, it was kind of a loan wrapped up as a grant.
Yeah.
And the only way that they could do it was if he promised to pay it back through jacking up the prices or doing the expansion of the ULEZ.
Yeah,
which is guaranteed money. It's just like you drive into any part of the M25 and it's a fine.
But in sort of the defense of ULEZ, if you're driving a petrol car, it's got to be nearly 20 years old for it not to pass the ULEZ test. So we're talking about 90% of cars pass. Obviously some older diesels don't, and that's a problem for van drivers and things, and for tradespeople, which isn't great. But they have a scrappage scheme as well, which was supposed to help. But we need it, as a not just London, but as a country, as a world, we need to start moving away from these really, really polluting vehicles. And it's not perfect. It's not a panacea. It's not going to fix everything all at once. Of course,
that's the front of the
No,
Guardian.
but the problem that you have in London is, like, for instance, where they've put in the cycle lanes in, like, just the embankment. Lower Thames Street is one lane heading out, and it's an absolute nightmare. Like, just going from the Houses of Parliament down the embankment towards Blackfriars is just, the fact they've got speed cameras in there at 20 miles an hour is an insult, because you cannot get to 20 miles an hour down that road. It's just there's too many roads, just like.
But I'm going to try.
But it's
No, but the thing is, and that is the problem. It's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you've got all these people just sitting in traffic, idling, pumping out crap. When the cycle lanes are only used like in rush hour. Now, if they had some sort of like demountable system where you could like have the cycle lanes in there for the rush hour and then drop the barriers so both lanes could be used by vehicles, it may help increase capacity of vehicles and make the traffic flow better. But during rush hour, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but again, I'd in London, there are some ridiculous things that people drive for that they do not need to drive for. Most of the cars that I see in London are usually very, very expensive cars.
When I lived in London for a long time, and I never used my car except for driving out of London when I went somewhere else. I never used it in London. It was no point.
Duke is saying in the chat, Duke Spangle Finn, great name, is saying I had a 2003 car and it would have passed the ULEZ if it hadn't got written off. Oh, wow. So we got a couple of super chats. Thank you very much to Alex the Sixth. Thank you very much, saying the Tories are planning to cry about election rigging, hence why they're going on about Hall going to win. Very Republican. Sounds about right. And Johnny Copperhead has dropped in another massive £50 super chat. Thank you. Round of applause for Johnny. Wow. Thank you so much. London Mayor says they won't start counting till tomorrow morning. They have completed verification. Tories are just doing Trumpian misinformation crap. When they lose, expect them to start muttering about a stolen election. Sadly, I'm not joking. Yeah, I don't think you are, mate. But thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it.
Right. Do you know what makes me absolutely fucking die about this whole election stuff
Johnny
with regards to photo ID, right?
Yeah.
They shot themselves in the foot, in the sense of they were hoping that it would suppress the vote of people that were anti-Tory. What it's actually done is suppressed the vote of Tories because they're thinking, man, there's no point I ain't doing that. And now they're blaming their own policy for the low turnout.
Yeah.
Dickheads.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
how can you have it both ways? How can you have it both ways? Fuck off.
it's back to I think that Sunak is playing Brewster's Millions. He has got to leave office with 0 votes. So on the day where the Tories have done spectacularly badly, he goes out to, offshore where all this wind farm licenses have been granted. And he's saying, we're going to drill for gas there, which is going to piss a lot of people off. Less votes. Then he takes over the electoral reform body and says, we are going to ask everybody for ID. We're going to make people come in for ID. We're going to put the electoral reform under the government so it's not independent. And then after our local election, we're going to carry foul of it and say the votes have been frigged, which is going to make everybody go, you're ridiculous. We're not going to vote for you. And they lose even more votes. He is going for 0 votes. I think Lebedov is upside down. I think he's working the wrong way round. I think he's giving the wrong advice to him because I think if he gets 0 votes, he's going to get the India deal. But you can only have that deal if you get 0 votes, Rishi. So Rishi's working for I think he's a plant.
So this is like Brewster's Millions, but with votes.
Brewster's Millions.
Wow. We've got another super chat as well from Questionable as Sanity saying Ardor went to Labour for the first time in history, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for the super chat there. And there was another place. What was it called? The place that went to Labour. It was Havant. Havant. Have you heard of Havant? Havant.
Yeah.
So this is a place that has been solidly conservative since forever. In fact, it didn't even go Labour in 1997. And I think I can get let me see if I can just get the results up here on the screen for you. So there you go. And in the corner there, Havant Council results. The Conservatives on 13 councils, down 17 in one of the safest seats in the country. Labour have a +7, so they're just 3 behind. Lib Dems +5. So now there's obviously going to be an overall control, and probably Labour will go in with the Lib Dems. But also Labour could go in with the Greens and still have more councillors than the Conservatives.
Yeah.
And Refuck got 2 in
Graham,
and that is one of the safest.
Graham, can you get up there? Can you get up the
seats in the country? Sorry, go on.
Graham, can you get up the Basildon result? Because I do not dare touch my phone because any stress on my phone will damage all of the internet.
Okay, well, I can look at that, but keep talking while I'm looking it up because otherwise.
Well, the other thing we obviously won that it's been a bit overshadowed, but the by-election was one as well, wasn't it?
The Blackpool South.
Yeah, the guy who was set up at the Times. That by-election.
Yes, it is. No overall control, mate. Conservative loss. Conservatives have lost control of Basildon. Labour have improved their number of councillors by 6. They're now on 18. The Conservatives are on 13, and Independents and others are on 11.
Yeah.
So there you go. The Conservatives lost 12 councillors in that election. So there you go. Conservative loss, no party majority. And that's in Basildon, mate, where people who come on shows called Labour Social actually vote Conservative. That's how conservative it is.
Yeah.
Wayne.
Helpful arrows.
Anyway.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mike is saying in the chat, at a dinner party, a guy was complaining about ULEZ. She has chronic a guest was complaining about ULEZ. She has a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and so after she ripped him a new one, he left. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like people who have got breathing problems, children who have got asthma, children are dying because of the and also like I kind of, this isn't going to be popular, I don't think, with people in the chat, but I want cars to fuck off. I hate cars. I just wish there was something better. It's like the worst way to get around. It's stressful. It's annoying. Like you've got these boy racers who are like, you know, They want to have a big flashing sign on the top of the car going, "Vroom vroom, I'm a very special boy." And they razz around the villagers here, making loads of noise. It's like Bart Simpson banging his head with a wooden spoon.
It's lazy. It's a laziness. Like you would. Like, there's. I'm not gonna dox anyone or fucking name anyone, anything like that. But there are people that drive their kids to school, and I swear to God, right, their distance is less than 1,000 yards.
What? So they could totally.
And they're like,
Okay,
well,
you're on my
100%.
you're on my soapbox now, because I live in this village that's 4 million years old. Now in the 70s, when I had to walk to the school, which was a mile away, when I was 6 or 7 years old, trot down this footpath in the dark, all the paedophiles and all that stuff, got the way to school, all the way back. Now it's like fucking Desert Storm down in our village square. Now it's like 4-wheel drive, armored plated, blacked off windows. It's like there are like 50 of them. You can't get in through the village because we used to walk with our little torches. And our
to your point, and this is another paradoxical fucking instance of people being stupid. They're saying, well, I've got to drive my kids to school because there's so many cars on the road these days. Yeah, you person.
I've just checked how long it would take if we walked my partner's daughter to school. It would take 1 hour and 22 minutes. Yeah,
but you've got an electric car though as well. So
we do have an electric car, and I'm on BUFU at Mike's side here, who says I'm a self-taught mechanic, but unlike the messages are moving up the screen. Unlike others, I'm pro EV. I dream of a day I never have to change another clutch stroke gearbox. I do love classic motors, and it's a dying trade. Yeah, I love classic motors as well. But there's a lot of motors on the street on the roads that are not going to be classics ever. They're just going to be crushed.
We've got 2 cars. We've got a classic car, which we knock around in when we're going, and then we've got a EV, which we drive all the time.
Yeah.
The classic cars, sunny day, Sunday, when it's not rainy, because it's
what is the classic car? Can I ask?
It's a 944.
Oh, nice.
It's old. I saved it from a tip. It was going to be scrapped.
Porsche? Is that a Porsche?
It's a Porsche. Yeah, it was going to get cubed, and I bought it on eBay for next to nothing. It was wrecked, and over the last 5 years,
my dad used to do that.
My partner and I have been doing it up, and we bought all the bits off eBay, all the second. A lot of them are VW parts actually, even though it's a 944, because you get the Porsche tax if you buy the Porsche part. And it's fine. It's great. It's fun. People look at it. It's a great fun. It's all noise and no trousers. There's no power. It makes lots of noise and it feels fast, but it's not very fast. The EV would beat it flat hands down. But
my dad bought an E-Type that the
944 was never.
And fix it up himself.
I
grew up around cars. My dad had a garage in Nova Screen.
I've always tinkered with cars. My dad was an engineer, made us play with cars when we were young.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of time for them. I mean, they are incredible machines, but at the same time, they're destroying the planet. We need to grow the hell up. And I don't mind the fact that obviously EVs are very expensive. And people can't afford them. The only reason why we can get one is because my partner's work have a salary sacrifice scheme. And we worked out it would be cheaper to get an EV and charge it at home for a few pounds a night.
But the EV I've got, you could buy one on eBay for a quarter of what I
paid. The only thing is, I think that
Wayne, what are you saying? You stopped again.
Yeah, but the thing with EVs, I think that EVs need to. The technology needs to be in a place where instead of, because you lease a battery, you never own a battery, do you? With an EV,
I own my battery. Nobody's coming for you for battery rent.
No, like
I mean,
I'm pretty sure that EVs you lease a battery.
No. You just have the car. You
just
can buy it outright.
Yeah.
And then charging it at home, Wayne, if we want to go to Liverpool, we can charge the car at home. It costs £3 and we can get to Liverpool.
It cost me about £8 per 200 miles.
Yeah.
And it goes
because I've always
Oh
thought
god,
with
the acceleration
EVs,
is
there should
amazing.
be
It's
a
like going into
universality
hyperspace.
with the batteries.
No, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet put out there by both automobile companies because they don't want to make them. They feel compelled to make them. They don't want to. And obviously the oil giants who are subsidized to the tune of trillions of dollars every year by governments around the world.
Well, you know, it's like my battery, when I bought it, it was 3 years old, my EV, and the battery was still 100%.
Yeah.
It, you know, not the 100% charge, but it was still giving 100% of what it could give. And you could do a check. It was guaranteed for 10 years, the battery. I mean, a lot of cars blow up within 7 years or go wrong, or their piston rings go, or their cranks go. So they're more reliable. There's less moving parts. And they, you know, they charge really, really quickly. My mechanic, I rang, I said, I bought an electric car, and he went, oh dear, that's probably going to burn your garage down, that is. And I said, yeah, they should put that in the marketing. They'll put that in the marketing. I'm sure they'll sell more, like, burn my bloody garage down. What do you think's in a real car? Petrol. That's more bloody flammable than an electric car.
One of my dad's cars literally just decided to set us off on fire one day. Like, no one was using it. It wasn't on. It wasn't even a particularly hot day. And it was only lucky that I was in a room. I was on my computer and I could see out the window. And I saw the smoke. And I was like, shit, Dad, someone on fire, and went down. And it was this car. Just decided to spontaneously combust. And that was about 30 years ago. It definitely wasn't an EV. Johnny Copperhead, £2 super chat, thank you very much, saying some companies only lease you batteries. I don't know which car companies only lease you batteries. I don't know who does that. I don't know who does that. VW certainly doesn't. Tesla certainly doesn't. But yeah, and not that I'm a big fan of Tesla just because of the guy who owns it. But I mean, you know, as cars, they're all right, I guess. But yeah, Vincent's saying now.
No, but this was my point, because if you had an option where you could go to a garage and have a universality of battery, where you could just put into a garage, swap the battery for a fully charged one, you leave them your depleted one.
No, because the battery's massive in it. It goes under the whole bit of the car.
But that's what I'm saying. But you could build it in.
Yeah, but the next generation of batteries charge quicker and they charge more. I mean, the next generation.
Why would you want to go to a garage? Why don't you just stay at home and plug it in, and then you can have the energy put into the battery at the speed of light?
Graham, what I'm saying, because if you go to a charging station now, it takes you 30 minutes to get a decent charge.
20 minutes.
But if you was to
go to 80%,
20 minutes. But but if you was to go to a garage and just be able to drop your battery out, put a new battery in, and be off in a minute, surely that would be better.
Yeah, but when I go to a garage, I've got to queue up for ages to get to the petrol pump. And then by the time I've gone out the car and pumped it up and paid for it, it's been 20 minutes.
When I go on a long journey, I park, go and get a coffee. By the time I come back, it's done.
Exactly. It's done. Yeah. Honestly, Wayne, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. If you have to wait a little bit.
No, but you know me and my environmental history. I'm kind of looking at it like, because I get annoyed when my fuel goes under half a tank. I get range anxiety from that. Yeah. I'm like, I've got to fill up.
You can get,
but that's because I'm on the road all the time.
But in the future, you're going to be able to fill up with electricity pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Because electricity is everywhere, and every car park will have somewhere you can plug in. Every supermarket, every hotel, every every car park you go in, any NCP car park that you park your car in to go into town, they'll have a charge thing there because they'll make money out of it. Why wouldn't they?
I have a conspiracy.
Oh, go
on. Right.
Well, it isn't flat.
No. If you have to add blue, why don't you just put that in the fucking petrol in the first place?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Add blue.
What?
Add blue. You have to put it in diesels. It's a nightmare.
Oh.
It's a big old. You've got a hole that big in your engine, and it's 11 liters in a big old thing. You've got to be muscles. You know, it's really hard. It's
and the thing is, if you start running low, it'll be like, I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to shut you down unless you put some AdBlue in. Why don't you put that in the fucking fuel in the first place?
Yeah.
You
Because then
dickheads.
you'd have to pay more for the fuel. Maybe it doesn't emulsify. I don't know. I don't know. But what I was going to say when I was going back to, it will take an hour and 20 minutes to walk to school in the morning. So, round trip, if you dropped her off at school and then walk back, would be 2 hours and 40 minutes before we start work in the morning. So that would just be mad. And also, there's no pavements. Because we live in a rural area, there's no pavements.
So how do people do it in the
roads that
past?
are just big enough to fit one car across. If another car comes, you literally have to stop and reverse into a passing place, right? And yet those roads are 60 miles an hour, and it is the maddest thing in the world. It is literally the craziest thing that we do in this country.
National speed limits
60
on
miles an
rural
hour
roads
on a road with blind turns, with crests on the hills, with no pavements. And you don't know what's around the corner. You can go at 60 miles an hour. Absolutely bonkers. And there are no school buses in this country. And I find it fascinating that America, which is seen as the most capitalist country in the world, everything's about, they don't do socialism, but they do school buses that pick the kids up from their homes and take them to school together.
I went to school on a school bus. Coaches.
When
you live in the
I'm going to say, no, that's not actually true. It depends on the school that you go to. Because I was working today in a lovely little town called Leigh-on-Sea, just outside of Southend.
Captain Mammon.
And there was school buses taking kids back from Westcliff Grammar School for girls, going to Whittam. So if the school's got money, they'll put the buses on. If the school ain't got no money,
but
it should be done by the local education authority.
A lot of places do. In Kent, all the schools have coaches that come out to the sticks and take the kids into the town.
Do they have to pay for it though? Because we've worked
not the kids
out
don't. No, the local authority pays for it. If you all signed up to that school,
so here in Durham, you've got to pay for it, and we worked out that it would be 400% more costly to have the girls when they're both in secondary school take the school bus, because you have to pay for it, in and out every day. It would be 400% more expensive than just driving them in REV.
I mean, I hated the school bus because I used to get the living shit kicked out of me every day for being trans. But I wish I was taken in by my parents. So that would have been perfect.
So Rach, when because you say you're
58, 57,
58,
plus 57 last week.
58. So you was
Wayne, you're breaking up again, Wayne. We can't hear what you're saying.
Back in the 70s.
Yeah, I started going secondary school at the end of the 80s, end of the 70s. Yeah.
Wow.
1978.
Hey, Cozy, how you doing? Cozy's
Yeah,
back.
I'm here.
Don't say anything. We can barely see you. Your picture's cutting off your chin. You need to just angle your laptop down a bit. There, that's better.
Oh, that's
rule of thirds. Beautiful.
I'm just busy reporting some Islamophobia on Facebook. Bear with me one second.
Okay, that's absolutely fine.
And
you report away. While you do that, I'll just give a big thank you to Flint Reed for the super chat. I have an e-bike with a trailer and can do everything I would normally need a car for, and it takes less room too. I want an e-bike.
But you can't take a bike through the tunnel.
I like the idea of an e-bike.
But for decades in the 21st century, everything was built around the needs of the car, not the humans, the cars. It was so cars never have to stop. Humans can stop, when you're walking and maybe you're carrying a child and it's freezing cold and it's wet or maybe it's snowing. You can stop, right? You can stand there for like 5 minutes waiting for the people who are literally sitting down in a warm vehicle to finish getting where they need to go before you can cross the road. And I just think that we need to rethink the way that we construct our lives, because the idea that cars and the people in cars deserve more rights than pedestrians just blows my mind. At least we don't have jaywalking laws in this country, which would be
you've only got to look at the school holidays as to the lack of cars on the road. Now, unless all these people are teachers, right, that they're all off at the same time as all their parents are off. That's weird.
Yeah.
Why the fuck? It's a nonsense. It's a nonsense. Like my road, because I've got a school at the end of my road, and every morning between 8 and 9, there are cars coming down my road, and they all want to park up down the corner, and they come really early to try and get a nice space.
5 flipping minutes.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing is to be in the catchment area, I think the rule is a mile and a half away from the school. So if you're a mile and a half away from the school, like for me to take our kids to, for primary school, for me to take our kids to our primary school takes me, if I'm walking on my own to go and collect them, takes me like 7 minutes to walk there. If I go in my car, it takes me 12 minutes because I've got to sit in the traffic to go up there, find a parking space, then park my car, walk over to the school, pick up the little one, come back, and then sit in the traffic, getting home. For me to walk, it's like literally 7 minutes, 14 minutes round trip.
Yeah, it makes a big difference when the schools are off, because I used to live in South London, and it would take me, I used to work in Tottenham Court Road. This is before the London congestion charge. And I used to take an hour and 10 minutes to get from East Dulwich, Forest Hill over to Tottenham Court.
Yeah, Forest Hill, yeah. SE 23.
Yeah, that's right. And then near the Horniman Museum, I used to live. And then
I know.
And then the school holidays. Do it in 25
minutes. James O'Brien.
Oh, right.
At the Hob, just opposite Forest Hill Station.
Yeah. I used to walk down to Forest Hill Station sometimes. When I wasn't driving. Good days.
Great days. Should we talk about the election?
Yeah.
No one in the chat seems to care. Like everyone's talking about Wayne needing the new router and stuff.
I brought it. I did talk. I said mayoral. We went to Sci-Fi, and then I said by-election, and we went to EV.
You're trying to keep us on the straight and narrow. So
let's just talk about how good the Wrath of Khan is.
Wrath of Khan is a great movie. Well, not Star Trek Into Darkness though. That was pants. So the Tories have been given well and truly have been spanked. We were hoping for 500 seats, but it's going to look like it's at least 400. They've lost at least 436. Hopefully that will be some more as the last 6 councils come in. But they have lost across the board. They have lost councils to Labour, to the Lib Dems, to no overall control. And one of the big factors in all this is refuck, because they've been taking a lot of votes from the Tories.
Has the BBC gone all reform? Because that fucking Tice guy was on the BBC all fucking day.
He was. And the Greens have hardly been on at all. And that's disgraceful, because the Greens have got way more... Refuck haven't got anyone. They've got like 2 councillors in the whole country have been elected for Refuck. But meanwhile, the Greens have got 100 new councillors.
James addressed this today. He said on his show, he said, if you're a Green Party member or a Lib Dem and you see these absolute paraphrasing, using my fruity language, you see these absolute clowns coming on and they're given like half an hour on the mic here or on other stations, and you think, well, hang on a minute, I've got a real good point to make. I'm being genuine and valid about what I'm trying to say, but I can't get my message across because it's not clickbaity enough. Yeah, because they're chasing the coin.
Yeah.
And the problem there is you then sort of like dictate the cultural narrative of the country based on what the media is pumping out.
Yeah,
which is not fair.
No,
it's not fair.
Well, and looking at the results here, Reform at the moment, Refuck UK, they've only got 2 new councillors, 2, and they have just dominated, like Rachel was saying. They've been all over the news. Meanwhile, the Greens, well, the Workers' Party of Britain have got 4. That's George Galloway's thing, I think. And the Residents' Association has got an extra 11 councillors, bringing them up to 48. So, way more, orders of magnitude more than
it's
Reform
kind of like,
haven't.
it's like Brexit, isn't it? 99% of the people this side or climate change, 99% say it's happening, and then they bring on the one for the balance, and they did this with the election all day. There's been Conservative and Labour, if you're lucky, and then Reform, and you're like, fuck off. Even on Jeremy Vine, they had bloody Tice's wife was on, and it was like, why are you on? It's just like it just drives me mad that they're giving them this balance, and then it doesn't match up.
Yeah.
There's no balance. There's no balance. It'd be like asking something like we'll use Graham as an example. Graham, who has travelled to every country, written about it.
Have I? It's funny that I don't mention it.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps it quiet. He keeps it well quiet and that. But having him on Newsnight against someone who has been to like Canvey Island, right, and that's the extent of their travels. But because they've been to Canvey Island, they've effectively gone abroad because they've travelled a body of water.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah,
and it's fucking pathetic. And I think Ofcom need to have a bit more teeth in this.
Yeah,
because when it comes to Graham, what you got there? Is that a deck of cards?
It's my 8. No, it's my 8 passports. Got 8 passports.
No, but I think Ofcom need to come down on this and say, look, you need to, if you want to show fair and balance, then put fair and balance. Don't put opinion against fact.
Yeah.
John's here. Hey, John.
Yeah, I agree. It's always tonight we have Sir David Attenborough to talk about climate change, and also on this evening we have bloke down the pub.
False equivalence. False equivalence.
Yeah.
Oh, I love my passports when they were maroon.
Yeah, John, have you had an haircut, mate? You look very dapper today, mate.
He's looking very dapper.
Yeah.
No. It's the same hair I had last night.
Did Kemi cut it for you then?
Oh, there we go.
Miriam.
Hello, Mr. Badenow.
Sorry, I didn't want to mix them up.
No,
Kemi's catch you in flagrante.
Graham is 80 years old, says Marley's displeased. No, I filled them up and had to get new ones. That's why I'm not 80. And the first one only lasted for 5 years because it was a kid. I was only a kid at the time. They tell you the story about when I was a kid and I got my first passport and they had a typo in it.
Oh?
Yeah, it should have said that I was born in 1979, but it said I was born in 1976. So I was a 15-year-old with an official UK passport that said I was 18.
Hey.
Excellent.
That was so much fun for about a year until my mum found out and freaked out because he thought that I might get trialed as an adult if I ever went to court. So she made me like shop it in for a new one. But for a good year, because I had a good one there
because she knew you had form.
Yeah, exactly. She had the good foresight to know that it's probably not a good idea.
When I was that sort of age, the bouncers at nightclubs, if you rocked up and you didn't quite look 18, they would ask you for your date of birth, and if you said it quickly enough, they'd let you in. So I practiced saying, my date of birth, but 3 years earlier than I was born.
Yeah, did it work?
Cozy
every single time. So much so that I was working in a nightclub on my 16th birthday.
Cozy, to be fair, bouncers are always like just let girls in. They don't give a monkeys.
So yeah, on my 16th birthday, I didn't like the number 16, so I said it was my 13th again.
Yeah.
And obviously in the club, everybody thought I was turning 19. So my colleagues gave me a cake with a big fat 19 on it, but my mates gave me cards saying 13, and they were all, the cake was on one end of the bar and the cards were on the other end of the bar.
Wow. I'm not sure the establishment you were working in is a bit kosher.
Yeah.
Well, it's an all right club. It was actually, it had one night of the week when it was mostly frequented by GIs because it played a lot of rap and R&B and that sort of thing. So in Munich.
Yeah. Nice.
in Munich. So we had a lot of the, the occupying American forces, because obviously back then it was still technically under occupation since.
Yes.
Did you ever get a USA chant going?
Did I ever get a USA what?
Chant going?
Oh, wasn't a thing in 1986.
Oh, no. My thing is, I really want to go to I want to go and watch an American sport in like a bar full of Americans and just see if I can get a USA chant going, because it seems to be the easiest thing you can get
at the
to do.
Olympics. If there's an American team in anything that I'm working at, so.
If you're on an American airline and it lands, just as it lands, tell a really bad joke, and everyone on the plane will clap, because they clap at the end when the plane lands. And you'll think they're clapping.
In my flight.
Or do a massive fart, because that's even funnier.
Right, no.
Yeah, in my flight.
That's what Ryanair do to themselves. Ryanair do that to themselves.
They clap the films in the cinema as well.
We've landed in Ireland so many times, and then they play a little thing on the tannoy. Oh, this is another Ryanair flight on time. Hooray! And everyone's like, clap what? That's your fucking job, you dickhead. Be on time. Like,
I was talking to a mate of mine who served in the British Army about how difficult it is to get like a medal in the British Army. Like, you've literally got to die, and then you might get a medal, maybe posthumously. But he was just laughing at the fact that in America you get a medal for getting injured, and in the UK you don't. Right? He makes a very good point about this. Like, that's what you're not supposed to do. That's the exact thing that you're not supposed to do when you're a soldier, is get injured, because that doesn't help anyone.
Because that means you're taken out. Yeah.
Yeah, you're taken out. You're taking someone else's time up. They've got to drag you out the battle of theatre, war, whatever. And it's like, but they give out medals. It is one hell of a participation award. No offense to anyone who's got a Purple Heart. Honestly, I'm just joking. It's just a joke. Don't take it too seriously, Americans, because I know you're quite passionate about these things. Pollinator, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Sunak said the Tories will be a part of the greatest political comeback from the general election. I say the only comeback he'll see is what FIL leaves on his teeth. Is that his father-in-law?
Father-in-law, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Thanks, Puninator, for that image.
That's worth a tenner, isn't it? Wow.
Well, if you pay me money, I will read out what you write. No matter how messed up it is. Oh, my God.
Anything?
Is that how I can say the C word?
No, although you did get demonetised last night.
What, conservative?
We got monetized, or we got demonetised?
We got demonetised.
That's you. That is where Tanny.
No.
That's you.
What's me? Was it?
See that, Boris Johnson?
No. In my defence,
your internet's
Graham gave us a green light.
Oh, okay. So it's my
Graham,
fault.
after 11:30, you did.
I did. So it's all my fault.
Yeah.
Terrible boy. Anyway, back to the local elections via Terry Pratchett and electric cars. So Labour are now on. They've got control of 48 councils. That's up from 40. The Lib Dems are in second place. And this bodes really well for the general election, because if the Lib Dems are in the second place for the actual general election, that would be brilliant, because that would make them the official opposition.
Yeah.
So they're doing better than the Tories at the moment. I mean, there's not much in it, but the Lib Dems have added 101 councillors. They've now got 505 councillors in this election. Don't forget, this election isn't for all councillors everywhere. It's just a section of councillors that are getting elected this year.
And only in England as well, isn't it?
England and Wales, yeah.
Only parts of England as well. It's not even as much as last year. So it's not the best bellwether this election, because most of the seats were done last year. Yeah. But it's a decent, it's a decent look.
Yeah. And the Tories have lost 448 seats. So we're edging closer to the magic 500, which is what we were hoping for, but it's not far off.
One of them was my former boss.
And I do think it's disgusting that the Greens, who have got 159 councillors now, are getting no coverage in the mainstream media at all. And Reform,
it's bullshit.
Two who have got 2, and they're both in the one council, by the way. They're both in Havant. They're getting wall-to-wall coverage. Richard Tice being interviewed everywhere.
When I left you last night at 4 a.m., I went to bed. Went to lie down, and I put Radio 4 on to listen to their coverage. And they went, and we're just going over to Richard Tice. And I went, speaker, turn off, stop. And I went and listened to something really boring on the World Service instead, because it was like, literally the BBC straight to Tice, and then he was being on all day, on and off, and then and his wife was on ITV.
But Rach, this goes back to the point that I was making earlier. It's clickbait. It's like the BBC feel that they're competing with the commercial stations, because the commercial stations, all they're trying to do is like get that Overton window and just
the BBC
chuck it over there. Just get over there.
They have shifted right.
No.
3 Tories at the top, and
hugely.
You can't get any more,
Indeed.
What is the deal with Coonsborough? Because Rachel and Graham, you have a beef with her.
Yeah, because she's a Tory.
She's a Tory.
She's 100% a Tory.
Massive Tory.
Fiona Bruce as well.
Yeah.
Jumps in front of a question when you've not seen a rugby fly in front of a question that's critical of the Conservatives on the question time. She's like, no. And if a question's to Labour, she'll question the Labour MP really hard and give the Tory a good old 5 or 6 minutes to have a good old talk.
Yeah.
You should go on Twitter and watch the question time hashtag and watch the audience go into meltdown on Twitter.
I know. To be fair, when question time is on, I'm normally on the bin.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about world affairs. I don't see question time. I've not seen question time for the last.
I'm just going to get a glass of water. I will come back, so don't worry.
Boo!
I watched questions. I watched a couple with Fiona Bruce, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do it.
It's hard.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
No. It's hard work to watch now.
It's all the think tanks. I can't stand it. It's these dodgy people though. You don't know who they're funding and well, you sort of do, but it's always somebody for the Spectator, the Telegraph, and somebody from the think tank. One poor old Labour MP and a comedian. It's like it's pretty.
I would quite happily say any one of us on this panel right now would serve that panel better, because we're not fucking money.
Yeah. But
no, I'll go on. Just be like, just to pull people up. Where did you get that from, mate? Who are you? Why aren't you fucking necking?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'm bored of it. It's a case of like the same think tank, the same like. Go on, sorry.
Oh, Graham, I have to
Have
go.
you lost your train of thought there?
Hi, sorry, I don't know who was talking then. I wasn't saying anything. I had me mic on.
No, I stopped because John was about to say something, and
I've had a few technical issues, so my sound keeps disappearing. But you're back.
Yeah.
Oh no,
it's all good. It's all good.
No,
I was going to say about
dodgy internet.
Fiona Bruce. I mean, I didn't really watch many to start with, and I can't do this. And then I saw the episode where she defended Stanley Johnson.
Oh, it was only once.
And I just thought, that's it. I'm done. I'm done.
Only once.
It was, I missed.
It was only once, though. I mean, look, to be fair,
I only murdered that person once.
Adolf, the Austrian painter, was a very good painter, and he's a very good dog lover.
Yeah.
Very good, with dogs.
But the BBC shifted after David Dimbleby left. It kind of shifted, and I used to rush home to watch it from work, get on the train, try and get home in time. But I have not enjoyed it since Fiona took over. It's just the top of the BBC, and it's shift to the right. I mean, they got rid of, think of all the programs. They got rid of the news quiz. They've got rid of Mock the Week. They're getting rid of all the political stuff that takes the piss out of the Tories.
It's Tim Davie.
Yeah.
It's Tim Davie. And I met Tim Davie at a BBC thing. God, Jesus, before he became Director General.
Yeah.
And he was a pain in the arse then. This was about 8 years ago. And he was just so up himself. And I thought, Christ, I'm a bike. And I think he was in charge of Six Music or something at the time.
That's why they wanted to get rid of Six Music for a bit, didn't they? Was that his idea?
Yeah,
we saved it.
Yeah.
We saved it.
They wanted to bin Six Music straight
away. They want to bin
away.
all comedy shows that criticise the Tories. And then there's a great bit when Nish Kumar's doing his stand-up. He talks about the fact that he was doing the MASH report on the BBC in 2017. And the BBC were like, all the Tory rags and the government were like, oh my God, they're criticising the Tories. Oh, we need to get rid of this comedy show. We need to destroy this. We need to cancel this comedy show. And then, he'll turn the page in the newspaper. The next thing would be like, is cancel culture killing comedy?
Yeah.
Can I?
Sorry,
can I ask? Not only the panel.
Wayne, I can't understand what you're saying, mate. Your bandwidth is just making
Why
you sound like
are people so fearful?
Wayne, can't hear you. We can't hear you, Wayne. Your internet's really bad. It's really,
we also
really
got
choppy.
rid of the Now Show as well, which was another one.
Yeah. Can we? Is there anything we can do? Can we hold up an aerial or something? Or Wayne?
I have to go anyway, Graham. I've got to.
Yeah.
No, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start writing it down.
Yeah. So
hold it up as signs.
Get your head down, darling.
Yeah, get your head down, Rachel. We're heading off as well in a bit, but thanks so much.
No,
have a great weekend.
Yeah, and you. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Rach.
Anyway, yeah. So sorry, Wayne, but you were saying stuff, and what you were saying was sounding like you were talking from one of those. What's it called? A vocoder? What's it called?
Vocoder.
Yeah. It sounded like you were talking through that, or a kazoo.
I actually, do you know what? I got a message from one of the Basildon Labour councillors earlier today, talking to Basildon.
All
right. They don't quite got a majority there, but they've done extremely well, because I know a few of them, and they were proper celebrating a few hours back. So I just thought I'd put that, because obviously Wayne being Basildon boy.
Yeah.
The girls did well there.
No. I voted for my local Tory councillor because he's a
to mention
good
it again,
guy.
didn't you?
Yeah. He's a big Tory.
He's a good guy.
No, I can't help but feel like you're some kind of what they call a spy or something.
Graham, I will kill you till you die.
Yeah, will you? What for exposing you as a Tory spy on Labour Social?
In fairness, Liz Truss is the greatest Lib Dem ever.
Yes, she has single-handedly destroyed the Tory party and killed the Queen.
Wow. I mean, well, not to kill the Queen bit, perhaps, but
come on, she was in power for 2 days and the Queen dies. Coincidence? I think not.
Well, one of her speeches, very early speeches, wasn't it? Was about the monarchy. She wanted to get rid of the monarchy, wasn't it?
Yeah. She became Prime Minister, and she didn't fuck about.
She was a frail old lady. What did you expect to happen?
No, but she met up with Liz Truss, and the next day she died.
That's what I'm saying.
Are you telling me that's a coincidence?
The Queen survived
in the same day.
She survived every day for 97 years, and then the day after she meets Liz Truss, she dies. Come on.
She survived. All her prime ministers, right, started with Churchill. Churchill was her first prime minister. She got through Anthony Eden. She got through the bloody lot, right? Macmillan, everybody. Wilson, Callaghan, the lot. Even Thatcher, she did 11 years of Thatcher. She managed to get through that. But one day of Truss, no, that's it. She was done.
That's it.
John, do you remember the last picture of her with that bruised hand? That was supposed to be from her cannula, but that was also the same hand that she shook hands with.
Yeah, like the last episode of 24 season 1, where the assassin shakes hands with President Palmer, and he falls over because she had some kind of toxin on her hand. That's what this
makes you wonder.
May have done.
Makes you wonder. We've all seen that episode of Family Guy with the Grim Reaper.
There's no scientific evidence for it, but it's a fact.
Callaghan was Labour. Yes, I saw that in the comments.
There can only be one.
These are the words of Graham Hughes.
I was just naming prime ministers in general.
I'm joking. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. Right, we're going to have to wind it up, I'm afraid. So we've got 2 minutes left. Very quickly, if we just say, Wayne, in one sentence, can you tell us about your story of the week? In one sentence.
Okay.
I'm not putting you on the spot or nothing.
Poor framing by journalists. That's it.
Okay. Cozy, what's your story of the week?
It's actually one from earlier in April, but it was just archived in the House of Commons. So there was obviously something moved in the UK government, and that was sort of taken note of. And that's the lovely old Swiss ladies who took the Swiss government to court and won. And basically the European Court of Human Rights ruled
about pollution,
that a government that doesn't do enough to mitigate climate change is violating a person's human rights. It's actually, ironically enough, Article 8, the right to private life, that they spoke about, rather than the right to life. And it was hinging on the fact that elderly people are more likely to die during heat waves. And it's interesting. There's a British Casey, and I've forgotten the name, Tim something or other, who argues that this creates new rights that aren't actually in the European Convention of Human Rights. And I disagree with him really fundamentally. What it is doing, it's underpinning that the government has to create the environment and facilitate those human rights functioning and working, and that everybody can enjoy those human rights and access those human rights. And the thing is, if we let governments off the hook for not creating the conditions needed for us to live in enjoyment of our human rights, then the whole human rights idea becomes meaningless. So it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. John, have you got some pearls of wisdom about your favorite news story, or the most interesting news story of the week? Before you go,
do you know what? I'm going to choose. I saw it in the comments earlier. I was going to mention the cat that got mailed by accident, which I thought was quite funny. But
what?
Actually, actually, my story of the week is from today. And I'm sorry to make this Essex centric again. I know you get this a lot on the channel, and I apologise. However, the police crime and the commissioner election, which has been everything in Essex, pretty much is pure Tory, right? We are just Tory central, aren't we, Wayne? It's just most of the time.
Annoyingly.
Anyway, today in the results in the police and crime commissioner election, the Labour guy only lost by 10,000, which for us is an astonishing result. That is absolutely fantastic. And if we can get 10,000 away from winning the police and crime commissioner in Essex for crying out loud, then it bodes really, really well. It bodes really well. So that's my story of the week. That's a phenomenal result for Labour.
That's awesome. So my story of the week is Ben Bradley. Just for this photo that I've just put up for everyone watching at home, this is the moment that Ben Bradley was told that he hadn't won the mayor of the East Midlands, and he looks absolutely look at that fury, and look at that top that he's wearing with the little zip up. He's got one of those little zip things at the top that you only wear if you've been to private school. Of course he's been to private school, but yes, and he's an MP. He's also the leader of the council there, and he wants the third job. He also wants to be mayor, and the good people of East Midlands said no, fuck off. We don't want you, you tough gobshites. And Labour won. So that made me happy. Just for the look on his face, on his weird little baby with a beard face. Questionable obscenity. Before we go, very quickly, thank you for the super chat. XK CD 325 referenced the cat in the mail. So we need to check out the latest XKCD cartoon, which is always worth checking out. Okay, so thanks to everyone who came over for Maximilian's stream, and everyone who came over from Age stream before Maximilian's. We're like the end of the road, because if you've been watching Age stream since Ade Thompson's stream since 7:30, you've now made it all the way here without having to change channels, which is really cool. We need to do this more often. But thanks for coming over. Thank you everyone in the chat.
And can we give Graham a shout out for
no, Wayne, sorry, but you sound
marathon man of streaming.
You sound
these last couple of days.
I have done a lot of streaming. I think people are probably sick of me.
Man.
You're gonna have a whole weekend whole weekend without me now, thank God.
I actually joined your morning brew this morning, which I hardly ever do.
Oh,
just in sheer disbelief that you're up already. I was like, how are you awake already?
Up and chirpy.
I know.
But yeah, I'll be back on Monday morning at 9:30, so I hope to see you then. And obviously Phil's going to be doing a Labour Vision at 4 o'clock on.
You do know Monday's a bank holiday.
It is a bank holiday. You're right. Oh,
are you still going to be up on Monday morning?
I'm still gonna do it. We don't. You don't get holidays when you're self-employed. It's like being American. Anyway, no maternity leave, no pensions, no
healthcare,
no toasters. No, they don't have toasters.
True, I was self-employed for 25 years. I know what it was like.
Yeah, kind of sucks. Anyway, thank you to my guests. Thank you to Wayne. Thank you to Cozy. Thank you to John. Thank you also to Rachel who left us. But thank you very much to Rachel for coming on.
Night, Rachel. Night, everyone.
Night, everyone. And
night, Graham.
Get some sleep, Graham.
Good night, John.
Get some sleep, Graham.
I'm going to get some sleep. So thank you for everyone in the chat. Thanks for the super chats. Really, really generous. Give us a like on the way out. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.